What up everybody, welcome to another tutorial video by Andrew. Today's video I'm going to show you guys how to play a submission match and how to win a submission match. Now in order for you to win this match, you must make your opponent tap out. Now if you're new to WWE 13, then welcome ladies and gentlemen. If you're not new and you're experienced, then you don't need to take notice of this video, but it's up to you if you want to. I think the most important thing is when it comes to a submission match is the limber targeting system is very important, especially in this game, because in the old games, you know, when you do a submission move, you could win the match very quickly and you didn't have to do that much damage. Here comes a pain. In order to submit, you'd have to, if you're on the PS3, PS2 back then, in order to, you know, win the match, you would hit the square button, the triangle, circle, X, like if you can hear me, you would have to do that. In this game, you can still do it. It's still there. It's not that hard actually. At first, you know, I told you guys before, I found it so hard that I had to go back and play WWE 12, and I was never a fan of the controls, but now I'm used to it. I mean, I played because the thing is, I played every wrestling game on Legend mode because it was just too easy for me, and Legend mode was the most thrilling mode I've ever had. I think it's the only one that beats every game, including FIFA. It's not too easy and it's not too hard. It's perfect. It's spot on. The most important thing is when you're playing Legendary mode is it's all about timing, and when I say timing, it's timing your moves, and especially when you're reversing an opponent's finisher move or a signature move or his standard moves. Now, I think it plays very important as well in every match you win, but when it comes to a submission match, it all depends. And this is what I love, because it makes me feel like, you know, I'm playing a realistic game, because the reason why is it all depends on whoever you're using. If you're using Chris Jericho, you know that Chris Jericho's special maneuver is the Walls of Jericho or the Lion Tumbler. Now he used that when he first came into the WWF, which was back WWE, which was back then known as WWF. Now he focuses on the opponent's leg. If you're Chris Benoit focuses on the opponent's neck when he uses the crippler crossface. If you're Angle once again focuses on the leg. Ric Flair, leg. Now sometimes Undertaker's triangle lock, he focuses on the opponent's neck as well, and it makes you unconscious. There are other wrestlers who focuses on, you know, the arm. Daniel Bryan also does the same. CM Punk. And in order to win those matches, for example, if you're playing as CM Punk hits the Intercontinental device. Now, in order to win that, I would say you focus on damaging your opponent's head. Now, if you're playing unlimited finishes, just hit like 5 go to sleeps, and you will notice that his neck is red, and you can easily win the match by a submission. If you're Chris Jericho, I would attack the legs, which is most. Although to be honest, when you beat your opponent severely, then you can hit a submission move and you won the match easily. But you know, I like to make my matches realistic, so I do take my time, which is why you've noticed some of my videos are long, because I like to make it like a proper WWE match. I don't want it to have a quick finish. But when it comes to WWE news, I try to do a quick finish because one, it's too long, and the longer the video is, I'm sure you guys will get bored of it. That's the one thing I've studied and noticed about Universe mode. Quick matches is what most of you prefer. Promos seems to be very, you know, good thing that everyone on YouTube likes, and intros is another thing. But when it comes to a submission match, you just gotta beat your opponent up, and it'll depend. So if you're Chris Jericho, work on the legs. If you're Chris Benoit, whether he's a CAW created superstar, you work on the arms and the neck as well. And if you're CM Punk, work on the neck. Daniel Bryan, work on the neck. Undertaker, neck. Which is why I went for the classic match, Chris Jericho versus Chris Benoit, a future Hall of Famer, both men. Whatever happens, at the end of the day, Chris Benoit may not be in the WWE Hall of Fame because of what he did, but to me, in my Hall of Fame, he's right there. Whether, you know, people care about it or not, but Chris Benoit was a good wrestler. Unfortunately, what he did was pretty hard. It was bad, you know. And unfortunately, they always say what you do at the last time before you die, it pretty much defines your career. So I kind of feel bad for him. But you know, at the end of the day, the way I see with Chris Benoit is he's a good wrestler, and to me, I love him as a professional wrestler. He was the best. He was good at what he was doing. As a person, you know, it's very hard. Because, you know, at the end he did take someone's life, and he took his family life, but I like the way I see it is, you know, it's because of what he did for the wrestling business is what made him the person that he is today. You know, most people said it was the chair shots that made Benoit like that, but, you know, it's a shame. But I still think of him as a wrestler. But going back to this match now, it's kind of easier. At first I thought it was very hard, and I think it still is. But I kind of like the new system. But the one thing I hate is when it comes to recording intros, promos, is you get the stupid breaking point. But then that's why you have the highlight reel, which is the best feature in the last recent games. If it wasn't for the highlight reels, I don't think anybody will be able to do promos, especially for me when it comes to my intros. And thanks to SmackDown, Paul, you know him as Smack Talk. He was showing a video, and thanks to him, he's made it much more easier for me to do my promos and intros, so thank you very much to him. Now, in a submission match, once you beat up the guy, as you can see, I'm going to press the triangle button, hopefully during the match, to win this match. But again, what I'm doing here is just going for the legs. But what you would normally do is, when you think it's the correct time, you hit your special maneuver button on the PS3, it's triangle. On the Xbox, I think it should be A. And you would notice a big sign saying break up, which is a breaking point, which is the title, and it's white, and you need to fill the meter all the way to red. And when it gets to red, that means your opponent has given up and he's tapped out, and you need to quickly press all the buttons, which is square, X, triangle, circle. On the 360 you have to do the same thing, so you just do that until the meter gets full. Sometimes when it gets to the end of the word breaking, it does get hard because the opponent is really, what that means is if you're struggling and it's gone past the word breaking, so it's actually at ing, then it just means that you haven't done enough damage, and he's still, and physically he's still in good hand and he can still carry on. So if that comes, game, just beat the hell out of your opponent until you know he's ready. And you don't actually, I've noticed, because when I won this match, he wasn't even that injured. Like, his legs were damaged yellow, and I was close to winning the match, but I really wanted to punish him. And I decided to make him really, like, the whole body destroyed. But then what you do is you keep pressing that until the word breaking point gets filled up, and once it's filled up, you notice the superstar tapping out, and that's how you win the match. I'm going to show you right now. Also, one important thing is, when it comes to doing your submission move, do it in the center of the ring, because of the new ability that they've put in the game where computer and you can get out of a submission by reaching the ropes. Don't do it too close, because you've wasted your finisher maneuver or your signature maneuver, so don't waste anything, especially if you're not doing unlimited finishes in the game. If you're playing against your friends or a computer, then you just try to take your time at least, and don't rush your maneuvers. Make sure you've physically done enough damage to your opponent. Like here, as you can see there, the top half was red and the head was yellow. But the thing with Chris Jericho, that would actually benefit Chris Benoit, because he does the crossface. But if you're Chris Jericho, Daniel Bryan, no, especially Chris Jericho, and Ric Flair, the leg is important to you, so you want to do more damage to the leg, because it puts a lot of pain and strain to the opponent, and therefore he or she will tap out. One person was actually asking me that in some of the Divas matches, but I thought I'd just show you in a video. It's a long match. Technically, if I wanted, I would have showed you guys, but I'm just showing you my way of doing it. But I'm sure you guys are mostly experienced. I mean, you've played WWE 12, it's the same controls. If you're new to the game, then this is what you should do. The rest of the match, you can see, you can finish it. I'm just once again attacking the legs. I just want to make sure that the legs is really damaged, so it has the color red, because that means it's fully damaged, and it's easily I can go for a submission win. So I've just hit my signature move, which is Chris Jericho, and I think the best submission specialist in the game is Chris Jericho. If Chris Benoit was there, he was there, and of course, I can see the damage is yellow. Now at that point, you can still win, because Chris Benoit's upper body is down, so that could put more strain and pressure on him and your opponent, and therefore you can win the match easily. But it's really up to you. Like I said before, I like to make my matches realistic, and as long as it would if it happened. So as you can see, I'm doing the walls of Jericho. Now here, the word breaking point right there with the G, sometimes it does take long, and you just quickly tap all your buttons. See, I just quit it there because I want to get one more damage just to make sure he doesn't tap out. Because sometimes at one point I was playing on legend mode, and you won't believe this, but it was so close to tapping out. And you know where it got stopped? It got stopped at the actual point. So when you look at the word point, it got stopped just before T, and I was just like, oh, for crying out loud, and I did a lot of damage. And this was actually in Attitude Era mode. It was so frustration for me. I really didn't know what to do. And then I beat my opponent up again because I had to do it quickly before the time ran out. Here's a test for you guys. If you're now experienced in WWE, why don't you play Attitude Era mode in on Legend? Because it's very hard being the Undertaker. And here again, so what you do is you tap your buttons, put a lot of pressure, and you can see you can't take it. When it fills up, this will happen where kind of a glass stain, and then bang, the match is over, you've won your match, and Chris Jericho has won the match by way of submission. So it's actually not nice, actually. When I think about it, it's not bad. I still prefer the old. Actually, I think it's much better than the old way, because in Here Comes the Pain, it's like a long bar, and until the bar finish completes, then you've won your match. But the only problem I hate is I don't like the breaking point sign coming up. It's the same thing with an I Quit match, but then you can't have that in a game. But I think you can't have it. You can't have it without the game. Otherwise, how would people know? I mean, would you just magically type it? How would you know when they tapped out? So anyway, that's how you play. For all of you who are rookies and you're new to WWE 13, welcome. Hope you guys enjoy it. But this is just to show you how to play a submission match in WWE 13. My promo is still coming in, it's going to be well, and my final big review on what needs to be done for WWE 14. That's enough for me. Please rate and subscribe, and as always, have a nice day. Peace out.